The footage was never meant to reach the public. Grainy, shaky, recorded by a rescue drone circling over a burning forest somewhere near the Arctic Circle. The voice in the background, trembling, urgent, kept repeating, "No survivors. The craft is gone." But then, through the static and the smoke, a faint shape moved. A silhouette dragging something, or someone. That was the first time anyone saw him. The man who wasn't supposed to exist. When the vessel hit the ground, the explosion tore open a half-mile of tundra. Every reading went off the charts: radiation, magnetism, sound. The military sealed off the area within minutes, claiming it was an experimental satellite malfunction. But eyewitnesses from a nearby weather station swore the object came in from space, descending slow, almost controlled, not falling, but landing. The drone's infrared picked up what looked like body heat, faint but human-shaped, moving among the wreckage. Then the impossible happened. The door of the craft, sleek, black, and rippling like liquid metal, opened itself. No one touched it. No code, no sequence. It just breathed open. And from that shimmering doorway stepped a man, barefoot, covered in ash, holding two small creatures against his chest, like cubs. But they weren't animals, and they weren't human either. The creatures clung to him as if he were their parent. Their skin translucent, their eyes enormous and glimmering with light. Not reflection, but actual light, pulsing faintly with each breath. The rescue team froze. One soldier whispered, "Is that a survivor?" But the man didn't answer. He just stood there trembling, staring at the horizon as if he'd come from somewhere far beyond it. Then he collapsed. They rushed him to the containment unit, the highest biosecurity level on Earth, and what happened next was classified immediately. Every witness signed a lifelong NDA. Every recording was scrubbed. But fragments leaked: a medical report, a single still frame, a scientist's email thread. They all pointed to the same chilling truth. His DNA was human, but altered. His cells carried something that wasn't terrestrial. For 72 hours he remained unconscious. The cubs, or whatever they were, never left his side. They communicated through a series of soft vibrations, like music played underwater. Scientists tried to separate them for testing, but each attempt triggered a violent electromagnetic surge that knocked out all electronics within 30 meters. One researcher said it was as if the creatures were protecting him, or maybe the other way around. Then on the third night, cameras caught movement in his isolation chamber. The man sat up, looked straight into the lens, as if he knew exactly where it was, and whispered something. No audio was recorded, but lip readers believe he said, "Don't open the door." The following morning, the entire facility lost power for 12 seconds. When it came back on, the man and the cubs were gone. No alarms, no signs of a break-in or escape. Just gone. The only thing left was a strange residue on the glass, a pattern that looked like a constellation. And here's where it gets even stranger. That same constellation, 3 stars in a distinct triangular formation, appeared 2 nights later in the northern sky, exactly above the crash site. Thousands of people saw it, and those who filmed it said they heard a low hum, almost like a heartbeat echoing through the air. Some believe the man wasn't from Earth at all, that he'd been sent here for a reason, with those cubs as some kind of living message. Others say he was one of us, a missing astronaut from a secret program, altered by something he found beyond the solar system. But one question haunted everyone who watched that drone footage. If no one survived the crash, who opened the door? What would you do if you saw a man walk out of an alien craft holding creatures that looked both innocent and otherworldly? Would you call for help, or would you run? Tell me below. Later that week, 2 hikers 50 miles north of the impact zone reported seeing a man in torn silver clothing, walking barefoot along the ice, carrying something wrapped in white cloth. When the local search party arrived, they found nothing, except strange tracks in the snow. 3 sets, 1 human, and 2 smaller ones moving beside him. The story vanished from the media within hours. Accounts deleted, posts removed, journalists silenced. But every now and then, a new photo or video surfaces, always grainy, always dismissed. Yet the eyes in those clips, they look human. Too human. The blizzard hit that night, hard enough to bury the crash site in silence. But satellites still tracked movement. Something alive was heading north across the frozen wilderness. Slow, steady, carrying heat signatures, one large, two small. When the first search drone reached him, it didn't last long. The feed showed the man kneeling in the snow, holding the cubs close to shield them from the wind. His skin looked frostbitten, but his eyes, bright, almost silver, didn't blink. The cubs were changing too. Their glow pulsed faster now, syncing with his heartbeat. Then the drone froze. Every signal cut to static, except a single frame, captured mid-glitch. The man looking up, straight into the camera, lips moving. Again, the same phrase. "Don't open the door." By morning, the blizzard cleared. A small cabin appeared on satellite images that hadn't been there before. Old wood, rusted roof, untouched by snow. He was inside. Locals who later stumbled across that cabin said the air inside felt wrong. Warm, but humming. On the walls, symbols burned into the wood, circular and fluid like they'd been drawn by light. In the center lay an empty blanket, still steaming in the cold air. No man, no cubs, just that faint, rhythmic pulse. Like something breathing beneath the floorboards. What would you do if you found a cabin like that and heard something alive inside? Would you step in or walk away? 2 nights later, that same hum was detected 300 miles south beneath the ice shelf. Sonar picked up a structure, metallic, organic, moving. It wasn't a wreck. It was growing. Do you think he was protecting us? Or warning us? Comment what you believe. Snow cracked like bones under the research team's boots as they reached the frozen shelf. Beneath the ice, the sonar readings pulsed. Alive, rhythmic, like a sleeping heart. They drilled down carefully, but the deeper they went, the louder the hum became, until their instruments started melting. Then silence. And from beneath the glassy surface, a faint blue light began to rise. It wasn't water. It was a door. The same shifting metal seen on the crashed craft. When it opened, steam poured out, and standing in that mist was him. He looked older now, thinner, eyes glowing faintly like the cubs once had. But the cubs were gone. Instead, he carried a small orb of light in his hands, alive, pulsing. "They're not weapons," he whispered. "They're seeds." The team didn't understand. But when the orb touched the ground, the ice around them began to bloom. Not melt, bloom, with living veins of light spreading for miles beneath their feet. "What are you doing?" one scientist shouted. "Saving what's left," he said. Then everything went white. When the light faded, the ice shelf was gone, replaced by a vast field of silver mist and glowing roots that pulsed like veins through the earth. The research team was nowhere to be found. Only the man remained, standing barefoot on living ground that seemed to breathe beneath him. He looked to the sky, where the same 3-star constellation shimmered, but now it was closer, moving. The hum returned, deep and resonant, shaking the air as 3 enormous shapes descended from the clouds. Not ships, living entities made of light and sound. He lifted the orb one last time, whispering something no one could hear. The beings responded, folding the sky into a blinding shimmer. And then they were gone. No explosion, no smoke, just silence, and a single human footprint glowing faintly in the snow where he had stood. Hours later, satellites detected thousands of those glowing roots spreading under the planet's surface, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. Earth was changing, slowly, quietly.